Welcome to Military Comebacks today. I'm sharing a story meant to stir your pride and leave your chest tight with emotion. The mess hall was alive that afternoon. Trays crashed onto tables, boots thudded across the floor, and laughter ricocheted. Off the metal walls, new recruits crowded together, comparing bruises and swapping stories about brutal training days. The air carried the familiar mix of burnt coffee, sweat, and fatigue in the far corner. A woman sat alone. She looked young, maybe mid-20s. Her hair was pulled back into a simple braid. Her uniform was plain, unadorned, no ribbons, no standout markings, nothing to separate her from anyone else. But her eyes carried something different, something old, something heavy. Her name was Harper. No one noticed when she entered. No salutes, no whispers. People passed by as if she wasn't there at all. But that quiet would soon turn into the loudest lesson of respect anyone in that room had ever learned. At a nearby table, a group of confident soldiers bragged about their scores. Corporal Jensen leaned back in his chair and spotted Harper. A crooked smile spread across his face. "Look at her," he scoffed. "Probably failed her shooting test. Bet she can't even lift a rifle." Laughter burst out around him, sharp and careless. Harper didn't react. She calmly took another bite of her meal, chewing slowly, her expression as still as glassy water. One soldier nudged Jensen. "Go ask her what she's doing here. Maybe she's lost." More laughter. Jensen stood, ego swelling with every step toward her. His boots hit the floor like a challenge, though the real battle already lived behind her eyes. "Hey," he said roughly. "This seat taken?" Harper looked up, composed. "No, go ahead." He dropped into the chair across from her and leaned in. "So, what's your deal? You look too soft to belong here." Soft. A word Harper had heard more times than she could count. She stayed silent. Jensen smirked and leaned closer. "What, you wander in here by mistake? Just watching real soldiers?" Eat snickers rippled through the mess hall. Heads turned. Eyes waited. Harper swallowed, wiped her mouth neatly, and met his gaze. "No, I'm here to serve." Jensen laughed. "Serve right, you wouldn't last a mile." Someone shouted from across the room. "Challenge her to the obstacle course." "Let's see her cry." The laughter grew louder. Jensen slammed his tray down. "Come on, princess. Prove you belong." Harper paused. She looked around at the faces, expecting her to fail. Then, slowly, she stood. The room went quiet. When she walked, she didn't shuffle or hesitate. Her movements were smooth, controlled, deliberate, like wind slipping through trees. They gathered in the training yard, sunlight flashing off steel bars, ropes, and walls. Soldiers formed a loose circle. Jensen stretched, grinning. "Try to keep up." The whistle blew. Jensen sprinted ahead, taking an early lead. Cheers followed him. Harper didn't rush. She moved with precision, every step measured. Halfway through, Jensen slipped in the mud, swearing under his breath. Harper crossed the same ground without breaking rhythm. She climbed ropes with fluid strength, cleared walls without hesitation, and swung across bars as if she'd been born to them. Stunned silence replaced cheering. By the time Jensen reached the final wall, lungs burning, Harper was already dropping down on the other side. She finished in half the time. No one spoke. Pride drained from faces. Throats went dry. Harper calmly retied her braid and waited. Jensen staggered across the line, staring at her. What kind of training did you have?" Before she could answer, a commanding voice thundered across the yard. "All of you stand straight." Boots snapped together. Chests lifted. A high-ranking general strode forward, his uniform heavy. With medals and history, everyone saluted except Harper. Not because she refused, but because the general stopped in front of her and saluted first. The yard froze. "You shouldn't be competing in beginner tests," he said firmly. "Lieutenant Commander Harper." The words hit like a shockwave. "Lieutenant Commander." The general turned to the recruits, his voice sharp. "You have no idea who stands before you. She is a Navy SEAL, one of the most decorated female operatives of our time. She's led missions you will never read about, saved lives that never learned her name. She chose to sit among you without boasting, without demanding recognition. Whispers spread. Heads dropped. Jensen swallowed hard, his confidence gone. She carries trauma you will never understand, the general continued. Losses you should pray you never face. And still, she stands. Harper looked away, blinking fast as her armor cracked for just a moment. Jensen stepped forward, shaking. Ma'am, I didn't know. Her voice was gentle. You shouldn't judge the person beside you. Respect everyone. You don't know their battles. The general nodded suddenly. Alarms blared. Emergency. Wounded incoming. Medical bay now. Harper didn't hesitate. She ran. Her stride wasn't just fast. It was driven by purpose. Recruits struggled to keep up inside the medical bay. Chaos ruled. Blood streaked the floor. Injured soldiers cried out. Medics rushed. In every direction, Harper dropped to her knees beside a soldier bleeding badly. Stay with me, she said, steady hands working fast. She moved to another, fading in and out. You're safe now, she whispered. Pain filled her eyes, but so did responsibility. A wounded soldier clutched her sleeve. Commander, we thought you were gone. She squeezed his hand. Not while you're still breathing. For 2 relentless hours, she worked without pause. 3 lives were saved by her hands alone. Her uniform was soaked in blood, but none of it was hers. When the chaos finally eased, the recruits looked at her differently, not with fear, with gratitude. That night, back in the mess hall, there was no mocking, no laughter. Soldiers stood when she entered, offering quiet nods of respect. Jensen approached again, humbled. Lieutenant Commander, I'm sorry. She smiled softly. You were young, now you're wiser. His eyes burned with tears. Thank you for showing me what real strength looks like. Harper sat to eat her now cold meal. This time she wasn't alone. You saved my friend today, someone said. That's what family does. She replied. Another whispered, You remind us what this uniform means? She nodded. It's not about rank. It's about trust. The general entered and saluted her once more. Today you reminded them what greatness looks like. She shook her head gently. They reminded me why I fight. Later, as she prepared to leave, Jensen asked quietly, Where did you learn such calm, such compassion? Harper paused. From those I lost. Silence filled the room. She stepped into the night, moonlight brushing her face. Looking up at the stars, she whispered, Watch over them. For all her strength, she was still human, and sometimes strength doesn't shout. Sometimes it sits quietly in a corner, carrying invisible wars until the world finally sees. That night, Harper felt seen, not for her rank, not for her medals, but for her heart, and that was enough. Thank you for watching. If this cinematic story moved you, like, comment, and subscribe for more emotional stories here on Military Comebacks.